Hi everyone, I'm Katie and I'm a PhD student at Ohio State, and I'm going to be talking about using computer modeling and simulations to understand how people move. So models are things that are used a lot in engineering, math, and science, and especially in biomechanics. So I wanted to first start off with talking about what a model is and why they're important to us. So a model is a tool that's used to represent an idea, an object, or a process. And models can be diagrams like this blueprint of a house, or they can be physical replicas like made of Legos or Lincoln Logs or Play-Doh, like all those fun little toys that we played with when we were kids. They can also be completely symbolic, like a list of math equations, or they can be computer simulations. So models are really helpful for science and engineering because they represent a thing that we're trying to study. And models allow us to design cars that don't explode when we drive them, and buildings and bridges that don't collapse when the wind blows on them or when we walk over them. So models help us test out different aspects of the thing that we're designing or studying so that when we actually build it, that car or skyscraper or bridge, it's safe and works like it's supposed to. And I'm sure you're all very familiar with these video games where you're simulating something. Like in Minecraft and Sims, you're simulating building a world or society, and in Mario Kart, you're simulating racing or driving without the risk of actually racing a car in real life. So these simulations help us test out what it's like to do those activities, like run a society or drive a car without the risk or cost of doing that in real life. But simulations aren't just fun video games, though. Like with modeling, simulations are useful for engineering and biomechanics, where we use computers to figure out how something behaves without actually testing the real thing, because it might be too dangerous or too expensive, or it might take too much time. So in biomechanics, we use modeling and simulations to understand how people move. So what if you woke up one day and all of a sudden you had the strength of the rock? Just imagine like how many more push-ups or pull-ups you would be able to do. We could test this with a simulation. We could use simulations to figure out how much stronger we need to be to lift like the rock, or we could do other things, like we could simulate how to perform better at our sport. So computer modeling and simulations are used in a ton of different areas in biomechanics, and we use them to understand how people move. And we can have very simple models like this jumping model that's almost like a stick figure jumping up and down. Or we can model a certain part of someone's body, like this model of a knee with a knee replacement. And we can have very detailed models of the entire body with a bunch of bones and muscles and stuff. So models and simulations really help us push the limits of things that we either can't do in a lab or can't do easily in a lab. So like they help us find forces and loads that are happening inside your body, like in your muscles and joints. And just think about like, that would be very hard to measure experimentally, like stuff that's happening inside your body. They also help us answer those what if types of questions, like how big or strong do my muscles need to be so that I can be more like the rock, or so that I can be better at my sport. And there are a ton of different applications and examples of using modeling and simulations in biomechanics, and one of them is with sports. So we can use them to help people play better or perform better at their sports, as well as help prevent them from getting injured, not just in sports, but prevent them from being injured in like everyday life or at work. And we can use them to plan for surgeries and make better rehab protocols and design better medical devices. And we can even use them to study how animals move. So not just people, but animals too. So hopefully I've gotten you all excited about the cool things that we can do with modeling and simulations in biomechanics. That's all I have for today. Thanks everyone for listening, and go Bucks.